Before it was really late, he had his baits out and was drifting with the current. One bait was down 40 fathoms. The second was at 75, and then third and fourth were down in the blue water at 100 and 125 fathoms. Each bait hung head down with the shank of the hook inside. The bait fish tight and sewed solid, and all the projecting part of the hook. The curve and the point was covered with fresh sardines. Each sardine was hooked so bird's eyes so that they made a half garland on the projecting steel. There was no part of the hook that a great fish could feel which was not sweet smelling and good tasting. The boy had given him two fresh small tuns or albacores which hung on the two dips lines like plummets, and on the others he had a big blue runner and a yellow jack that had been used before, but they were in good condition still and had the excellent sadness to give them scent and attractiveness. Each line, as thick around as a big pencil, was looped onto a green saped stick so that any pull or touch on the bait would make the stick dip, and each line had two 40-fathom coils which could be made fast to the other spare coils so that, if it were necessary, a fish could take out over 300 fathoms of line. Now the man watched the dip of the three sticks over the side of the skiff and rowed gently to keep the lines straight up and down and at their proper depths. It was quite light, and any moment now the sun would rise. The sun rose faintly from the sea, and the old man could see the other boats low on the water and well in toward the shore, spread out across the current. Then the sun was brighter, and the glare came on the water, and then, as it rose clear, the flat sea sent it back at his eyes so that it hurt sharply, and he rowed without looking into it. He looked down into the water and watched the lines that went straight down into the dark of the water. He kept them straighter than anyone did, so that at each level in the darkness of the stream there would be a bait waiting exactly where he wished it to be for any fish that swam there. Others let them drift with the current, and sometimes they were at 60 fathoms when the fisherman thought they were at 100. But he thought, I keep them with precision, only I have no luck any more. But who knows? Maybe today, every day is a new day. It is better to be lucky. But I would rather be exact. Then, when luck comes, you are ready. The sun was 2 hours higher now, and it did not hurt his eyes so much to look into the east. There were only three boats in sight now, and they showed very low and far inshore. All my life in the early sun has hurt my eyes, be thought, yet they are still good. In the evening I can look straight into it without getting the blackness. It has more force in the evening too, but in the morning it is painful. Just then he saw a man of war bird with his long black wings circling in the sky ahead of him. He made a quick drop, slanting down on his back-swept wings, and then circled again. He's got something, the old man said aloud. He's not just looking. He rode slowly and steadily toward where the bird was circling. He did not hurry, and he kept his line straight up and down, but he crowded the current a little so that he was still fishing correctly, so faster than he would have fished if he was not trying to use the bird. The bird went higher in the air and circled again, his wings motionless. Then he darted suddenly, and the old man saw a flying fish spot out of the water and sail despairingly over the surface. Dolphin, the old man said aloud. Big dolphin. He shipped his oars and brought a small line from under the bow. It had a wire leader and a medium-sized hook, and he baited it with one of the sardines. He let it go over the side and then made it fast to a ring bolt in the stern. Then he baited another line and left it coiled in the shade of the bow. He went back to rowing and to watching the long-winged blackbird who was working now low over the water. As he watched the bird dip again, slanting his wings for the dive, and then swinging them wildly and influently as he followed the flying fish. The old man could see the slight bulge in the water that the big dolphin raised as they followed the escaping fish. The dolphin were cutting through the water below the feet of the fish and would be in the water, driving at speed when the fish dropped. It is a big school of dolphin, he thought. They are widespread, and the flying fish have little chance. The bird has no chance. The flying fish are too big for him, and they go too fast. He watched the flying fish burst out again and the ineffectual movements of the bird. That school has gotten away from me, he thought. They are moving out too fast and too far, but perhaps I will pick up a stray, and perhaps my big fish is around them. My big fish must be somewhere. The clouds over the land now rose like mountains, and the coast was only a long green line with the grey blue hills behind it. The water was a dark blue now, so dark that it was almost purple. As he looked down into it, he saw the red sifting of the plankton in the dark water and the strange light the sun made now. He watched his lines to see them go straight down out of sight into the water, and he was happy to see so much plankton because it means fish. The strange lights the sun made in the water. Now that the sun was higher means good water, and so did the shape of the clouds over the land. But the bird was almost out of sight now, and nothing showed on the surface on the water but some patches of yellow, sun-bleached sargasso, weed, and the purple formalized iridescent undulations bladder of a Portuguese man of war floating those beside the boat. It turned on its side and then righted itself. It floated cheerfully as a bubble, with its long deadly purple filaments trailing a yard behind it in the water. Egulamala, the man said. Who? From where he swung lightly against his oars, he looked down into the water and saw the tiny fish that were colored like the trailing filaments, and swam between them and under the small shade the bubble made as it drifted. They were immune to its potion, but men were not, and when some of the filaments would catch on a line and rest their slimy and purple while the old man was working a fish. He would have welts and sores on his arms and hands of the sort that potion Evie or potion away can give. But this potioning from the Eguamelas came quickly and struck like a we splash. The earth's dense bubbles were beautiful, but they were the falsest thing in the sea, and the old man loved to see the big sea turtles eating them. The turtles saw them, approached them from the front, then shut their eyes so they were completely corrupted and ate them, filaments and all. The old man loved to see the turtles eat them, and he loved to talk on them on the beach after the storm and hear them pop when he stepped on them with the horny soles and his face. He full loved green turtles and the hawkbills with their elegance and speed and their great bellow, and he had a friendly contempt for the hawk, stupid lock-haired yellow in their armor plating, strange in their love-making, and happily eating the but to kill the men of war with their eyes shut. He had no misgivings about turtles, although he had gone in turtle boats for many years. He was sorry for them all, even the great trunk bugs that were as long as the skiff and waiting at home. Most people are heedless about turtles. About a turtle's heart will beat for hours after he has been cut up and butchered. But the old man thought, I have such a heart too, and my feet and hands are like theirs. He ate the white eggs to give himself strength. He ate them also by to be strong as September and October for the truly big fish. He also drank a cup of sherry, liver oil each day from the big drum in the shack where many of the fishermen kept their gear. It was there for all fishermen who wanted it. Most fishermen hated the taste, but it was no worse than getting up at the hours that they rose, and it was very good against all colds and gripes, and it was good for the eyes. Now the old man looked up and saw that the bird was circling again. He's found fish, he said aloud. No flying fish broke the surface, and there was no scattering of bait fish. But as the old man watched, a small tuna rose in the air, turned and dropped head first into the water. The tuna shone silver in the sun, and after he had dropped back into the water, another and another rose, and they were jumping in all directions, charting the water and leaping in long jumps after the bait. They were circling it and driving it. If they don't travel too fast, I will get into them. The old man thought, and he watched the school working, the water, white and the bird now dropping and flapping into the bait fish that were forced to the surface in their panic. The boat is a great help, the old man said. Just then the stern line came taut under his foot, where he had kept a loop of the line, and he dropped his oars and felt the weight of the small tunas shivering pull as he held the line firm and commenced to haul it in. The shivering increased as he pulled in, and he could see the blue back or the fish in the water and the gold of his sides before he swung him over the side and into the boat. He lay in the stern in the sun, compact and bullet-shaped, his back, unintelligent eyes straight as he thumped his life out against the planking of the boat with the quick shivering strokes of his neat, fast-moving tail. The old man hit him on the head for kidneys and kicked him, his body still shuddering under the shade of the stern. I'll be care, he said aloud. He'll make a beautiful bait. He'll weigh 10 pounds. He did not remember when he had first started to talk aloud when he was by himself. He had sung when he was by himself in the old days, and he had sung at night sometimes when he was alone string on his watch in the smocks or in the turtle boats. He had probably started to talk aloud when alone when the boy had left, but he did not remember. When he and the boy fished together, they usually spoke only when it was necessary. They talked at night or when they were storm-bound by bad weather. It was considered a virtue not to talk unnecessarily at sea, and the old man had always considered it so and respected it. But now he said he thought aloud many times since there was no one that they could annoy. If the others heard me talking out loud, they would think that I am crazy, he said aloud. But since I am not crazy, I do not care, and the rich have radios to talk to him in their boats and to bring them the baseball. Now is no time to think of baseball, he thought. Now is time to think of only one thing, that which I was born for. There might be a big one around that school, he thought. I picked up only a stranger from the albacore that were feeding, but they are working for a lot and fast. Everything that shows on the surface today travels very fast and to the northeast. Can that be the time of day? Or is it some side of weather that I do not know? You could not see the green of the shore now, but only the tops of the blue hills that showed white as though they were snow-capped, and the clouds that looked like high snow mountains above them. The sea was very dark, and the light made prisms in the water. The mirrored flakes of the plankton were annulled now by the high sun, and it was only the great deep prism in the blue water that the old man saw now with his lines going straight down into the water what was a mile deep.